Hi everyone. First of all, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas. We all hope you have a wonderful a wonderful holiday, and you're having a great holiday. It's 2 weeks to Christmas, guys. 1 week, I think.
Welcome to the channel.
All right. Shoot. You see why? Anyway, listen, let's start again. Hi everyone, welcome to the Unpopular Opinion. I'm Claire.
I'm Prim.
I'm Kemi.
We're real.
Bro.
We're saying it.
And we're saying it all. We just keep moving. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode. It's like the second last week of the year and we're still going strong. We hope you are too, and we'd like to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Today we are talking about fear. See, you know, when we're going into the end of the year, everyone is making
Oh my god.
Resolutions.
Stock taking.
Yes, stock taking.
Oh my god, what did I do in this?
Quite often, a lot of this, what stops us from actually achieving the things we set out to start at the beginning of the year is fear. And today we're going to debunk a bit of fear. We're going to debunk it a bit, see where we are as
Break it down, yeah.
break it down and make you realize that you actually most probably have nothing to fear about.
Okay,
That
yeah.
thing that you're fearing, that thing that you're doing because of fear. And I know fear can feel like
It's immobilizing.
Yes. It's
that's the word I'm
immobilizing.
looking for. It's immobilizing, and it just feels like it's paralyzing you. And it's doing that. Fear is like one of those things that it's there, but it's actually really not. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted to ask you girls and talk to our community how personally there's very little I fear.
It's true. It's true.
I fear a lot. I fear a lot, but fear to me is smaller than me. But to be at some point, it was bigger than me.
Yeah.
You just need to know. You just need to put fear in its
disarm
place.
it.
It's never gonna go away.
Yeah.
Anything you do will be scary. But the point is for you to disarm it exactly.
Yeah.
And take away its power over you and take your power back. For me, that's how I see fear. I'd like to ask you guys, where are you right now with fear? Like, how do you deal with the times? Because we've established everyone feels fear.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how successful, how big, how beautiful you are, you feel the fear. How do you deal with it, Fiona?
How do I deal with fear?
First of all, what are you afraid of? What are some of the things you're
Guys, it's a
afraid of?
very big question. What am I afraid of? I think for the longest time it was inadequacy, like just being inadequate in stuff, in work, in relationships, in this and that. So I found myself having to almost overcompensate a lot of the time, which was on me really, not on maybe the people I was relating with or whatever. It was just because I was just like, what if I'm not enough? What if I don't know? All of that. But I think now I don't think I fear that anymore. I always feel like I'm enough wherever I am. I think now, I think it's a good question to ask myself at the end of the year. I'm not really sure what I'm afraid of, because I feel like now the way I manage fear, because of course things come and I'm like, oh, this is scary. Oh, what? Even just like with this project that we are going to be doing, I feel like there's fear there because you're like, wow, it's the first time. What? But then I'm like,
Can't think of it. You want money. Like you have money in the bank, right?
it's for us, but no, it's not in the bank yet.
The 3,000 euros.
That's what I'm talking
It's
about.
for all of us.
It's for karma.
It's for
Oh, really?
karma,
It's for
yeah.
karma.
Yeah.
Hey, not just Fiona.
No. But
Hey.
where have you been, Prim?
But it's in the bank.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I've just submitted stuff.
Imagine.
Trying
Like
to see
now
what
we
we're
can-
jazzing.
See what we're jazzing
No, like I'm
about.
thinking about that. Like I just looked at you there, like looking glorious with 3,000 euros. And in my head, I was like, I need to tell people like, amazika kaunga mgaiwe.
Come for chips.
There's chips and chicken coming your way.
Anyway, but I
So are
think
you afraid of money?
no, I'm not afraid of money. I of course I fear like when you're doing
The
something
project,
new,
yes.
of like, oh, it's new, will I succeed, will I be good at this, will I be awesome and be the bestest, I don't know, version of me that I can
Yeah.
be this thing. And then I
You
say,
have
you
no
know what, I
choice.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I tell myself is that I can. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
fearing, but I can do it anyway.
Yeah.
So again, I'll go back for whoever is stressed about me talking about meditation. I'll pray for you.
You meditate for them.
Whether it's fear, because fear for me usually will manifest then in anxiety. So I'll get into if I need to meditate, breathe,
Just sit there,
do
cross
my
your legs,
yeah,
crisscross
yes.
applesauce.
Yes,
And just
crisscross up.
that's what they tell the kids at school.
So I'll just, I think I know now how to calm myself out of the storm that can be fear. I feel like now fear doesn't come for me in that way of I'm there and I can't do anything and I'm stressed and I'm crying and I don't know, like I feel like I'm losing my mind. Fear doesn't affect me like that anymore. I feel like now I just have the tools to calm myself down and like rationalize. Is this something I can do? Yes. What are the steps? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do number 1 and see where it goes.
The word rationalize is important to talk about. Rationalize is where, amidst all that, you have a conversation with yourself. But wait, what are you afraid of? Like, what is the worst? Thank you. And I feel like once we understand this as human beings, that amidst all that, when you recognize what this emotion is what? Fear, it's anxiety, it's it. And in that moment, you remember, like, wait, you have a real honest conversation with yourself. There are things that, for me, I think being in this space, one of the things that I've been afraid of, I think, was, say, being embarrassed, like waking up and there's like, say, a scandal. And there's but you guys, in ways that Joanne Morogi will never know, that chick liberated me from that. Because I want you to know that Joanne, there'll be something going on, like there'll be a tabloid saying this and that, and the world is on fire, and everyone is discussing her, and Morogi will come, dropping the little ones to work, to school today. Guys, Kemi saying hi. Guys, and her life is moving on, and she'll not come and say, Atimanya, my side of the story, friends, is this and that. No. And in watching her, I've learned one thing, that these storms have also
They've come and gone. What did you die?
Me, she liberated me. She liberated me, and I used to be afraid of that so much, and that meant that I used to live not even just carefully, but I never enjoyed life. I never step anywhere with people and just be happy. That when someone says, "Hi, I'm such a big fan," for me, it's like the curtain has finally opened, and everyone now sees me. They are probably going to say she rejected food, or she said no to a waiter, or she will do. Or if, and there's that whole, I know her, she's a sister to my friend, and my friend said this and that.
Yes.
You know that whole people who act like they know you. People who say, oh yeah, Prim's close friend. Yeah, she did this and that. Her close friend is
the sisters, neighbors, brothers.
Or she says that my cousin is her landlord. My cousin said this. Like those things. I used to be so afraid. But you guys, I want you to know that I cannot imagine, I can't explain to you how much I took away that were like everything just dead on over. You know what's the worst that can happen?
Right?
Like it happens and that storm can also
pass.
The moment I understood that, I just found that you start living like as if you're on a cloud, or as if you're just sailing through. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah. 2, when I just say working, I was afraid of going back to where we came from, because we were so poor. And for me, I think I had a fear of us not having a toilet that we can sit on, as in, oh my goodness, we were so poor, so afraid of going back. Like, I think it came to a point of everything that I do needs to be as if to put as much distance from my past and my current. And then it used to paralyze me. Like I would lie awake with anxiety of, now what if this happens? Now what if that happens? So one day, rationalization again. I told myself, but if it happened, how did you get here? You understand? Like, how did you end up here? Do you think that you're more hardworking than other people, more deserving? No. It's why it's called unmerited grace and unmerited favor. Like, it's not like you're more deserving to be here than other people. Yeah. But anyway, the same way you got here is the same way you would go back and you'd still come back up. Like you'd everything would still
Can
work
start
out.
afresh again.
You can start afresh. That day I understood that I can start afresh as many times as possible.
Yeah.
Friends, you cannot tell me anything. You can't. You can't. As a creative, you're afraid of, my God, what if they hack my account after all these people that have accumulated? That does not make me afraid for 1 second. I'm like, you know what? Go back, open a new page,
Continue.
start over. As now I can even come back as a new person who is an athletic.
Yeah.
And that's an athlete, and
Something
that's what
different,
I share.
yeah.
A different person, yeah.
I think when it comes to fear, something I have noticed, and this is something I'm intentionally teaching my daughter. So when she was months old, around 8 months, she one of the first words she says was thunder, which meant thunder, because it would thunder so much at night, and she would curl up to me like this. And so I'd pick her up and take her to the window at night, and I'd say, that's just thunder, you know, and I'd get her to experience it and to see it. And then there's a time we were at school and there was a very low jet, a helicopter, and it passed really low that the kids could see it. She was at school, she was like maybe a year old, and she was before she was a year actually, she was terrified of planes from then on, or any loud noises. So now what I decided then to do is, anytime a plane passes over, I know it when each plane passes over Mienga, by the way, I know now, because I know that times, because now every time I hear a plane, I go, oh, there's an airplane, let's go outside and see. Do you get what I mean? Why? Because the first thing I know about fear is, once you experience that thing that you fear, just do it. It will not hurt you, you will not die. You know? And once you realize you will not die, the fear goes, it keeps going. The more you do it, the more it goes. Now, kids, it comes, come airplane, mama, come airplane.
Yeah.
You know, but if I had kept, so our natural instinct as moms or as humans is to, if something fears, you know, my child fears, so you protect her from that thing she fears, rather than challenging her to face that fear. You know, even things like swimming, and if your child has a fear of water, don't force them in, but encourage gently, slowly.
Introduce her
First
to
start
water.
with a toe, first start with a basin, first start with, do you know what I mean? Find ways of making sure that fear becomes smaller than your child. Because when you grow up with that thing of, anytime you fear, just run away from anything you fear. Everything you fear, run.
Yeah.
We see it, we especially girls. Boys are told you're a man, which is why men don't fear much as we do. Men are very confident. Even you see this man is like, you're confident. Why exactly? But he's confident.
But also, that's why there are some of them turn it inwards when they can't do certain things.
Thank you.
That's why it also affects them.
Yes,
That's
because they're supposed to be men.
I'm supposed to be a man.
Exactly.
It's extremes,
I'm
eh?
afraid.
But exactly. But so what I'm trying to say is that this thing comes with us from when we were kids,
Yeah, it does.
especially women, especially girls, because little girls were told it's okay to fear.
Hide.
Always run away from what you fear. Hide, and we will protect you. You know, and the boys are sent out to beat whatever it is that is scaring the girls. The boys are also scared, but for them they are challenged
Yeah, so
in
they
that
overcome.
way. You know, a man is not supposed to be ABC
beating
and
cockroaches in our house.
You're the one who
He's
beats.
always telling me you're a feminist.
You
I
beat your
swear,
own cockroach.
it's like a cockroach or a rat. It's like,
It's like beat your own cockroach.
You're called feminist. It's okay.
So you get, so that's one thing I know about fear, is that when you face your fear, 99.9% of the time, you realize, why was I fearing? And I've seen that so much in my own life, and I think that's, the more you do it, the smaller fear gets. And although that voice will be in there that comes in, your voice is so much becomes so much stronger
That's true. Yeah.
than the voice, that voice of fear.
Yeah.
You know, because fear is not actually a bad thing. Fear is supposed to be there to protect you. Unfortunately, we take it too far, and we don't use it as a voice for protection. We use it as a voice for keeping us from actually living life.
Yeah.
You get. And
Yep.
that's now something that I want to talk about more. Like how much fear has robbed
So many
our
of us.
generations of people,
Opportunities.
of opportunities, of
Of
life,
happiness, of
happiness,
love.
you know.
Yeah. People are
And
afraid of loving again.
they are, yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, and you look at people, and you're like, but this fear, you know, nothing will happen.
It's, yeah.
And you know how fear sometimes it doesn't even manifest as fear. Sometimes you think you're being careful, or sometimes you just feel like there's a way.
I like to
there's a way
plan
fear.
ahead.
You get comfortable
I like
with
to
it,
prepare.
and you just feel like, oh no, this is me being steady.
It also becomes the familiar
Yes, like you.
thing.
It's what you know, so you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is default settings. You don't even realize that you're
Yeah.
afraid
Yeah.
of something. I really appreciated when there was an older lady I was talking to. I told you when was that thing, and so we were talking. She was like, oh, I've watched your show, and she was telling me how, she's like, oh, so I understand you're single. I'm like, oh yeah, I am and stuff. And then she's like, she was like, oh, and just how is this season of life? And what I was like, oh, I'm good. And genuinely, I was in in a place of
I was irritated
being.
that day. I was so irritated. I was so
I thought it was
irritated
so
on your
nice.
behalf. I'm like, none
You
of
were
your
there?
And
business.
yet me, I was
I was
enjoying
there.
the conversation. I was glad she brought
And
it
I was
up.
looking at her, and she was like, I was so irritated. Anyway, go on.
I loved it. She was like, oh, so how's that going for you? I told her, oh, I'm actually in a place where I really feel comfortable in my single season. I don't feel pressure. I just feel cower. I'm like, I invite the opportunity to meet someone or whatever, but I'm not pursuing it like oh my God, if I don't have it, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's a good thing. She was like, but I'm also going to ask you to be careful in how the comfort that you can find in that life. She was like, you can get so comfortable that you never even bother.
Let opportunities.
Yeah, like
pass
you just
you
never
by.
even bother. She's like, trust me, as an older, lady who has seen some things. She was like, it's good that you're not in a place of, oh my God, I'm running mad. She's like, but be careful that it doesn't become a thing. Like it can easily just morph without you realizing. I think of like, that you start fearing it even, without even processing it well in your mind, but somehow that confidence becomes a fear of having anyone that close.
Yeah.
And it was actually wise. They were wise words.
Yeah, they
It's
really
like
were.
fear
They
can
really
manifest in like weird ways.
I was irritated because this is the first time she's meeting you and she's telling you these things.
I loved it.
But remember, it's because, like I said, like that, okay, not I, but like someone said that these people have created a relationship with you because
us,
they are
yeah,
watching you.
yeah.
So she's watched Fiona, and that's like a conversation, something she has always wanted to
I
ask
did
her.
appreciate that.
It was lovely. I loved it. I loved her
I was
approach.
just like, bold.
I loved that we talked about that. It was nice.
So I feel like another thing that fear does to us is that do you find people who prefer to leave hard decisions to other people?
Yeah.
Like you be the one to tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
You be the one to make so that I don't know if it's because we would rather blame someone else if something goes wrong. I see that with my partner when we are driving somewhere together. He'll be like, so which road should we take? So me, I thought that
If you fall in jam,
yes,
it's
and
your
I used
fault.
to think that he likes to know which road to use. He doesn't know Kampala well. Then one day he
Joke is on
confesses, without even realizing it, that he's like, the reason is because I fear that if we fall in jam, you'll not shut up about it. So I'd rather make you feel like you're the one who made
us
this
fall in
decision.
Because
jam.
you better fear.
I think even let's talk about a little bit about love. Yeah. So many people have guarded their hearts to their own faults from being loved. You know, now no one knows more. No one knows more how scary love can be. Opening your entire heart out to someone who can they just get it and just do like this.
Right?
It is scary as
I feel that
like
it's a human being that when we choose to love people, we are giving that freedom
You
to a
give it
human being.
away.
They can wake up and say,
100%.
I don't want you anymore.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I won't lie, friendships are really hard for me because of that fear. Because of that fear of, you're going to friends that you can give yourself to a friend so much and they hurt you. Personally, I fear it. I do. It's an active fear. But I still give my friends, a lot, quite a bit. So I won't say I have overcome the fear of friendship. I fear making a mistake and someone being like, I fear my own personal imperfections and shortcomings. So it's very difficult for me to be a fool, to give myself fully of someone else, because I always be thinking that one day I will fall short and this person will cancel me out of their lives, and it will really, really hurt me.
But you see, that's okay. That's okay. Guys, let me tell you something. Not everyone is going to...
I think it is
we're not always going to be
okay,
loved.
but the heart, some people have higher tolerance for pain.
It's not even tolerance.
I don't.
It's that it has happened and it's accepted. Like,
I get
it's
that.
okay for people to reject your love. Do you understand?
I have no problem with people rejecting my love. My problem is the heart, because it will come with pain. You
Yes,
get on
and
my
like every
part.
other pain
So
you
I'd
go
just
through
rather avoid that altogether. Does that make sense? And just I'd just rather avoid that altogether. Like, we are adults, I still have yaka bills to pay. Then I'm also, nursing a broken heart from a friendship.
Yeah.
So it's really, really something that I still need to find maybe regulation. I don't know. Maybe I should go meditate and
Highly
stuff.
recommend.
It's hard for me to regulate my emotions when it comes to friends. So it's whatever.
There's fear there.
But do you
There's
realize
a
that
lot of
in
fear,
you doing
intense
that, you
fear.
hurt people that care about you?
How?
Like,
That's the
you
thing, I stay
withhold.
away.
When
Yes,
you're
I withhold. You get, so that I don't intentionally, I don't do something to, and by the way, I don't even intend. I don't sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to withhold here, I'm going to withhold there. I just find myself, it's debilitating, that fear of disappointing someone so much that I'll just rather, in order not to disappoint, I just...
Disappointing them as to what standard? Like,
my own, obviously. As I said, it's a fear, and it's probably irrational or rational. I don't know, because, and I told you guys my first real adult friends. Yeah. Because as we were growing up, my sister and I, we would come to school and kids would have ganged up on us. You get. We're not allowed to go to sleepovers and things like that. So all the kids that went on a sleepover. So I find friendships very difficult for me.
I mean, I think
it's now, to be fair, we've had such a nice friendship and it's been very adult and stuff. And slowly by slowly you open up when you start to trust people, slowly by slowly, but still that fear is very active. I fear a friend more than I fear, like being cancelled on the internet. That it's not something that keeps me awake at night. Does that make sense? I fear that more than I fear my husband leaving me.
I think it makes sense because of, how our experiences inform all of these things and how we connect and how we what. It makes sense because of where you've come from, that you guys had that closed relationship of my family. And so you weren't really, out here. Yeah. You weren't out here, like some of us were. So of course it's going to be harder for you at this point when you're an adult. But I think if you recognize it, which you do, then slowly by slowly you can make space. If you've made space for us, then maybe you make space for one more person, or maybe even you won't. Maybe these are the adult friends you make, which is also fine. But I think that it makes sense. I think it's good that you acknowledge it, that you're aware that actually I'm afraid. I think what is dangerous is if, first of all, you don't recognize it in yourself, and also if you allow it to like influence you to withhold from people who genuinely care about you.
I do know people I've seen people who have stayed away entirely from friends. And usually before I cut a friend, I'll just be thinking, am I going to cut everyone off? Do you get what I mean? Like, something can happen and you'll be like, oh my God,
I'm out.
That's literally my reaction. I'm like,
like you need
and I'm like, I need to step back. I really need to step back. But how many people are you going to step back from? No one's perfect, including me. Yeah. And I have to have those conversations with myself. Like, when I'll find myself alone. I'll literally find myself alone. Yeah. So that slowly brings me back and also allows me to be gracious to the things other people do that might just make me, oh my God. Yeah. And that's literally the one thing that freaks me out is friendships. one thing that freaks me out. I am fearless, but when it comes to friends and people that are outside my small circle, family circle, which is my mom, my brother, and my sister, my sisters, outside that, caring about people like that scares the shit out of me.
Unfortunately, we are made for intimacy,
Yeah.
and intimacy is hard.
It's hard.
It's a whole commitment.
It's hard.
It's hard, but I'm glad that you know.
Yeah.
When you know something, then you can start to work on it.
It's anyway, what do you do? Like, what do you do when fear strikes and you're in that position, Prim? When
Rationalization. Me lately,
Same.
I keep laughing that I am the people that I used to laugh at. You know, the ones who sound wise, the ones who just keep jazzing. But I'm now those people, because guess what? It's very effective.
It's truth.
That I will speak out and have like conversations loudly with myself of, but you know what? You're scared of this thing, but like list your fears. Like I will like get like a list what you think could happen.
Yeah.
Go to my notes on iPhone. I think that maybe this and that would happen. Then I would be ashamed. Then
Good.
good.
Next.
Okay, now what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen?
what if it
List. And okay, so after these things that you listed have come true, what's the worst that can happen? Completely. I rationalize it on behalf of even family, of my family. Will this affect my family? Yes, but they're family and they love me, and that is unconditional, right? Okay, and then let's say which other people in my life are going to be affected. How will it affect them? Okay, yeah, so I'm like, okay, or what's the worst that can happen? Are you going to die? No, it's not.
In conclusion,
An illness. In conclusion,
So we do.
it's I can't even add anything else. I think me too. It's really just like you talk to yourself. You're like, oh, okay, so if this happened, what's actually the actual worst? Like that, you go through those things with yourself, and then you're like, this is not so bad. I can manage this. I have support. I have this. I have that. And then you're like, I mean, always. I already said this, but always I go back to my tools because they've just been very helpful for me as far as anxiety goes, because anxiety and fear are never far apart. So find tools. I mean, invest in, guys, we shall keep singing that therapy and meditation, like those things are actually good things. So to say all of that you're going to maybe do all of them, maybe just one thing will work for you. But those tools always help me come back. Like, oh, there's like some panic bells going off in my head, because it's also physical. Like, you know, that fear that can make your heart start beating fast. Maybe you're having a panic attack.
That's me when
or
it comes to
anxiety.
friendship.
You would be shocked when you stop and just take like a few deep breaths.
Yeah.
Your heart rate slows down, and then you can even have that conversation better. That conversation with yourself of, okay, what is actually scaring me? And then maybe it's a person that you need to call. Maybe you have your person that you call and you'll be like, I need
This
to
is
talk.
happening. I need to.
Do you have a minute?
Yeah.
I was
I don't
recently
know.
paralyzed, and I called a friend of mine, Sonia, is also a therapist, and I remember calling her in the morning. Thank God she lives close by. She lives in Garuga. And I'm like, hi, Sonia, I need help. But for me, I think it started with me saying it out loud. Like when I said it out loud to her,
That's the first
I
step.
need help. And then I said out loud to her, like what I've been afraid of. Like, you know something, you know, fear is a funny thing. That the things I was so afraid of were even manifesting in my dreams. I was so triggered that when someone would talk about it, I would start shivering, shaking, and I will not do anything else but keep seeing messages to see what is everyone else commenting, what are they saying? It was, I can't explain it. But I sat with her on my couch that day, and those are the same exact questions she asked me. She's like, so what are you afraid of? Like, why are you afraid of this person? Why are you afraid? I'm like, I'm so afraid that they'll do this and that and that and that, and everything that I've built will just go down the drain. And she's like, you know, the funny thing is they're also probably afraid of you. Like, they're afraid of you. Sometimes you've noticed that the things we're so afraid of can actually not touch us. Or the people you're afraid of are also very afraid of you, deathly afraid of you. And I want you to know that I had not known peace in about 4 nights. I kept dreaming about this person over and over and over. And we had a conversation, and I was so afraid of her leaving. Like in the evening, when she said, okay, now I can go, I was shaking of, now when you go, won't it come back? Now won't I be scared again? I slept soundly. Like that night, I slept
Because
soundly.
you
I was
had
okay. Because I had actually
let
said
it
it out
go,
loud.
yeah.
Oh, this is what I'm afraid of. This is why I'm afraid of this person. This is what I'm feeling like. Da, da, da. And like now I feel nothing.
Yeah.
The kind of fear that used to ground me when I would, like see their name or, see them anywhere. It left, like meet them and then, oh my God, I would be so deathly afraid. And now I feel nothing, nothing. Like, oh my goodness.
It took your power
That's
back.
the thing about fear. You give this person power. Like the time when someone once gave me such great advice, like, it's like you break up with someone and someone is honest enough, when you're honest enough to say that I love this person, like I'm so helpless, they've left me and rejected me, but I'm so helplessly in love with them, right? Yeah, don't do the whole, it's all right, blocked,
Cool.
New year, new me. It's the acceptance of, oh my God, I am so helpless in love with this person, what am I going to do? So someone once gave me advice about someone I'd been hung up on for like 7 years. And someone told me, do you realize that you gave them so much power in your
over
head?
you.
Like you gave them so much power in your head, like everything that they are to you, you did that. Like, and the moment you pull that ladder away,
That person will come
they'll
back down
come
to us
down
really.
to nothing,
Yeah.
to being nothing. And you people, I remember sitting like, what? Like, are you like, oh my God, that one statement after 7 years, after 7 years of no one can compare to this person. Like everyone that I met would be compared to that person. And they could never match up. Now I brought them down to nothing. Like, you are nothing. And oh my God, did I start recognizing how incredible the people I was meeting were. So now each time someone comes to me and says that there's this person, but you see I failed to get over them, I was like, you see, you always tell yourself, this one could never have done this. Let's say Black could never have done this and that. Black would have now pulled a chair. Black would, do this and that. And the thing about, let's say in relationships, you're always trying to win the person that left you. You're in a competition, you're trying to be the one that
I want
does
to be the
better.
one who's the winner.
I want to be the one that got married before, that had kids before, that had a better job. And when you take that power from them, of nothing they can do will ever be significant in your life, I swear to God, they could go ahead and be president. And you still be like, I am paying taxes. You still feel like, like I'm paying taxes. Good for you and your family. Like, be a bad way. Like, you take that away.
That's actually why that concept of the one who got away doesn't really sit with me. Because I always feel like, if like maybe Claire is saying that Black got away, he will always be the one who got away. I keep telling people the moment someone says something like that, but I don't. I can never talk to you again. I don't want to hear about
that conversation. That's where I was. That's where I was. With that person. That's where I was.
Yeah.
And
that's why I'm saying that kind of thing, because people now have made it seem like it's a normal thing that you married someone else, but the one who got away. What, that means you never let them go. Yeah. So even this new person you're with, you will always be competing with that person.
The other person.
You will always be.
You will never be happy.
Yeah.
You will always wonder.
I got into a whole relationship feeling like that person was the one that got away.
Yeah.
So it's
comparing, and I'm like,
it's not healthy.
It was not healthy.
Because we act like it's healthy.
That I was with.
People talk about it like it's normal.
It's not
of like, Mnange thing is the one that, for me that was the one that got away. Like it's kawa. I'm like, you guys, it's not kawa that you're moving on with somebody else or moving on, and then you're holding a candle up for the other person who got away.
Because that means that
my
when
friend,
that
have you
person
healed?
Comes back, you drop everything good about this person
and just do this.
And just
like do you remember that time when I posted? There was like a thing online, just from a podcast, and the chick, someone wrote in and was saying how she got married and they have a daughter. Let's say the daughter is called, I don't know, Bella, and so the husband had ever mentioned that he had an ex, but never talked about her. He just said, I had a serious relationship, and never talked about her ever again. They got married, Nini, and then sometime they were at a party. They were having a party, I think, at their place, and him and his boys were jazzing. She had gone, I think, to do something. So I think she was coming in, but you hear something that makes you stop. And then he was saying how Bella, the one who got away. Bella, what he named their child.
And there's a lady gloating somewhere out there.
that your child
Love your
is
child.
called Bella.
And I know you never got over me.
I was like, hey, that business of that got
But
away.
giving people that
it's
much
just
power,
too much power.
Yeah.
It's
You're
a lot.
giving them power over
But-
yourself and also over your partner. You
Yeah.
understand? Because they you know, it's like they could one day tell your partner, but what are you saying? Your child is named so and so. Who do
Yeah.
you think that is? Oh,
But
my
no.
God. That would be
Talk-
devastating.
I want to also say something about adopting fear from other people and also projecting our own fears on other
others.
people. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So
That
quite
happens
often,
in businesses.
it happens in businesses.
Yes. How someone says, "Oh, I want to open
Why
this
is
business," and
starting
someone
it?
is like,
Did you know the other one? Me, I
Yes.
tried it. Da, 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 da,
"My
da, da."
aunt used to rear chicken.
true.
They all died."
That's the thing. So we are often. I remember when I was pregnant with Kinsey, and I decided to share it. Now, obviously, a lot of people are like, "Do not share pregnancy and stuff like that." I honestly don't know why, but I know why. But I'm like, really? Did you go to school? Anyway, so this someone messaged me and said, now I understood her. I felt some actually more than one person. I remember a couple of people messaged me that you're sharing about your pregnancy, but what if you don't have the baby? What if something happens to the baby? And it stopped me in my tracks, friends. It's legit stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
Because that was fear.
That's
That was
fear,
fear. I
for
was about
sure.
5 months pregnant, and it stopped me in my tracks. I was like, I had just shared, and obviously the congratulations were there and stuff, and I was sharing, here and there. And then she's like, listen, this is what happened to me. I didn't have my baby. You get, like, I carried to term, but my baby died. And this is what a number of people told me, including my own family members. And I was like, I'm that kind of person who's like, okay, if it happens to me, I will legitimately talk about it. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not going to sit. I'm me personally. I was like, okay, if this baby I don't carry to term, or if something happens, I will talk about my experience with the world. The same way I've talked about my pregnancy. If anything happens, I will talk about it, and I will share and I made peace with that, instead of adopt someone else's fear from a legitimate, something like that fear for them came from and they message me or they talk to me out of concern. You get, it was out of concern. It was genuinely, they saw me and they're like, oh man, this could happen, because it happened. It was
To
a
them.
reality for them.
Yeah.
But I heard their fear. I felt it. You get. I don't think I've ever been more scared on the internet. I felt that fear, and then I made a decision that if something happens, whatever happens, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
You get. I'm going to talk about that because that's what I do. I just like to talk about it. I know you heal from talking about things. I won't hide it. And once I did that, I rationalized someone else's fear. I said, I'm not going to take on someone else's fear. And I moved on with talking about sharing my journey.
Yeah.
But how do you guys protect yourselves because from our parents to our family
Projection,
members,
yeah.
friends, people project their fears.
Again.
Fears from their own failures.
Again, onto rationalization. There are times that you know someone on a personal level, right? And when they come and say, for example, they're telling you, let's say they've been through something, and let's say you also say later, like, oh, I would like to start this and that, and they just immediately say, no, don't do that. This is going to happen. No. So let you also have a moment to go and sit down. The same way, I feel like as human beings, we obviously all self-evaluate at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Let's assume we all self-evaluate. Like, we go home and
We
we're
should,
like, whatever
yeah.
I say to so and so in this conversation, how did that come off? Start your day off. In the morning, I woke up. What did I do? I do that a lot with my food. Like, what did I eat today? Okay. Then, who did I talk to? How did I probably make them feel? What did I say? How did I treat such a person? Generally, just evaluate your day. So you'll be like, okay, so and so, we had this conversation, interesting. They gave me such really good advice on this and that. Where could they have been coming off from when they said this and that to me? And this also comes down to not even just like advice, but the ways in which people hurt us,
Yeah.
the ways in which people treat us, the things they say to us. So you sit down and like, where could they be coming from? I think they're coming from a point where I hurt them because I shouldn't have done this and that or said this and that. I mean, to revisit that, and let's say you didn't apologize in that moment, you're going to go back and just be like, that's when you now make that decision, either I am cutting this person off, or I see how that might have come off to them. I now understand where they're coming from. I am so sorry. But also, when someone so gave me such advice, it's not like, oh, why were they against me? Why were they envious? Why were they? Most times, they're coming from a point of, that's when you now realize they're coming from a point of fear. Because so and so started such and such a business and it failed, and they're not telling me because they're projecting, because they want me to not to succeed or anything.
But that was their experience.
But also that was their experience. So that's when
they're trying to protect you.
Yes.
But what they're actually doing
how
is
are they protecting you?
Yes. Holding you back.
Yeah. That's when you make the decision of, what's the worst that can happen? Let me go ahead and do this business. If it fails,
it fails.
Well, yeah, it fails. We'll continue. Let me go ahead and date this man that they told me is going to make me clown. What's the worst that can happen?
You just start putting on your
perform
makeup
in the circus.
and you go.
The clown. You never know. You might marry a...
You go to the circus and you make money out of it.
And wear a
You
wig
start
and you
making
go.
children. You go to children's parties.
Generally
So, you
speaking,
understand?
I like rationalizing fear is what you fear will probably never happen, and even if it does, it will not be that bad.
You can survive
come
it.
back. You can survive it. There are options.
It reminds me of people who, when we tell you not to go back to a certain ex and you go back and you're there hiding your relationship.
And it's
Why are you
like,
hiding?
Why are you hiding? Go back in
Yeah,
real.
but I've now, I think as an older person, I've now learned to give people grace of, hey, you love them, okay.
Go back. We'll
Surely.
come.
We
We'll
love
pick you
them
whenever.
this
We'll take you back. We'll pick you and take
When
you back
they
as
say
many
no,
times as you feel.
When you start abusing them, or I will abuse them. When you take them back, all right, we
It's
continue. I'll even come and smile with them, yet I said nasty things about them yesterday. So do not hide. I hope that I never make my friends hide the fact that they went back to a person. Even when I'm talking to my friends, like, oh, they're like, this time I'm leaving for good. I'm like, babe, when you decide to go back, I want you to know that it's okay. Because I know that I'm not the one who's going to get you out of that relationship.
It's
It will
you.
be you. You will get yourself out of that relationship. I won't do anything. I won't even lift a finger.
true.
Yeah, the days I tell you leave it, you won't. One day I'll be in my couch without advising you or anything, and you will leave for good.
Yeah.
And most times you'll find that people don't even say that I left until months. Because then they've
yeah,
come to that,
They've really-
that realization on their own. There's stillness. That's when they're like, by the way, I left 4 months ago. You're like, what? Good for you, sis.
Yeah, but also it just reminds me, before we go, it reminds me of, as a parent, and I look at these things a lot in the eyes of as a parent, and I keep thinking of the fear we projected on our children. Like, if, like the other day, just yesterday actually, I was in the supermarket with Mackenzie, and she wanted a sweet, and she didn't. I said no, take it back. And she tried to cry, and then she got on the floor and she lay down like this.
My nephew said doing that.
And then they do that at around 2. They want their rights, so they fight
They
for
just
their
lie on
rights.
the floor in
Just lie on the
public.
floor, and she put her finger in her mouth,
Right.
and and I left it there. And some woman came and said, "Shame upon you to my child."
Excuse me?
Legitimately. Like, now this is an action that would, generally speaking, make a mother feel embarrassed. But I've decided to detach what my child does from how I feel. You get, like, my child can do what, but it won't make me feel. So I won't stop her because I'm ashamed. Does that make sense? I mean,
That
she's
whole,
on the
we are in
floor.
public, we are in
Exactly. She's on the floor. I left her there. They first finished taking everything out of my cart. I paid, and then I said, "Come, we go." And she got up and we left. But someone said, "Shame upon you," and I did say to this woman, "Please don't tell her to shame upon her. I don't want her to feel shame. She's just a 2-year-old expressing her feelings, and that's okay to me." And I just remember how my mom was also not one to feel ashamed of the things we did.
Yeah.
You get, my parents, neither of them would be like, "Oh man, as was is that," you know. And I feel like that's often why we are confident, maybe.
It's not maybe.
Definitely, because
Yeah.
we never ever felt this.
Yeah.
How are people going to see us? My mother has
Oh,
never
we
been.
carry
How are people
people's
going to be
shame.
us? How are going to
That's
see
a
us?
whole
And
other topic.
yeah,
But shame
we
we carry
carry
other
a
people.
lot of people's shame.
I wish there's so many times I wish we could talk to, like especially for example families of people who deal with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
The way they struggle with when they find out that our child is and that, you find that the parents are so worried that when they find out their child is dealing with addiction, which is a disease, but guess what? The world is busy shaming you.
Yeah.
But like you'll find parents are hiding, they don't come for events anymore, they don't come to church anymore, or things like your husband is cheating and
you're the one being shamed.
She's the
Kumbe
one
he's
who
the
doesn't
one doing the
come to church.
manyanga, but you're the
No
one people are
is shaming
shaming.
that man.
No one shames that. That's true.
That's a whole topic for
carry
sure.
around
Have
shame, a lot of shame and
relative
fear
who is
of
probably
being shamed for things
who
we
is a
haven't even
murderer,
done.
who is stealing from
Yeah.
people, and somehow someone is like, oh, do you know that her brother or her sister does this and that?
Yeah.
Friends. Oh.
And I feel like it's very important to just be introspective. I know when I feel fear or am I projecting my fear? Am I absorbing someone else's fear? And it's especially if you're a mom. I don't know why, I just keep speaking to moms a lot.
Because you're a mom.
Because
Your mom.
especially to girls. Girls are not confident because of the fear that the society has instilled in us. You have to fear everything. Fear is rushing. Fear protects us, but most times it robs us of joy and happiness and peace.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's all we had for you guys today. Anything else?
No, I was going, just because you talked about being a mom and fear and how it robs us, it made me think also of the other side. You know how fear exists in so many weird ways? Because even when I talk about inadequacy, that inadequacy was also out of fear. Like fear of, oh my God, I'm not going to be the best firstborn ever.
Yes. They'll never look at you and say, our firstborn daughter is, by the way, this.
A shining example.
That is shining example.
She's a shining example to her siblings. And then you get caught up in fear of, what if I don't do that? Will it be good? Oh my God, if I don't do law, does it mean that now I'm a bad firstborn? I don't know. Like,
my mom told me that our firstborn is the one, she used to say to me, when one like they're the ones that bury the family. And I used to be like, oh my God, I need to go through school to make sure these people,
to be the
my
best.
siblings become a failure, that will be on me.
Like
I can't let them down.
Yeah.
I can't be.
You're like, how do I be the
It's
best?
too much of a burden on the girl child, friends.
On any child,
But
for that
I
matter.
feel like the girl child carries a lot more heavy in my opinion. So parents, just be careful of the fear that you're projecting on your children. Stop withholding them from running and falling. Falling happens. Of course, protect them, but don't withhold them from joy and fun and being children just because of that fear. We tend to take fear and protect children of the things we fear, and yet they're actually just a passage of rite of passage. Anyway, that's all we have for you today. We want you guys to be not to fear. You can fear, but just make that voice of fear smaller.
Rationalization. If there's anything we take out from here today, rationalization. Sitting, you know what that thing they call sitting with your demons.
Yeah.
Sit with your demons. Ask them what keeps them there.
Yeah.
Ask your demons, why do you stay? Why are you here? Why don't you ever leave?
So as usual, we are going to say goodbye. But as usual, comment, subscribe, like, and share. I would love to hear from you. What are those things? What are those demons that you fear in your head that are probably irrational?
Yeah, and actually be in those comments.
Be in the comments. Let us know. Prim is usually our comment warrior. So be in our comments. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.